Hi there, this is Ronnie, Amber's Night, coming at you with a video. I'm going to link to an article on Newbie DM's website about the forthcoming release of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'll put in the link so you can see it. The upshot is that supposedly 5th edition is going to be released on the 15th of July. There will be a beginner's box set, although there's no real details about it. And the Player's Handbook will be released for $49.99, that's dollars, which for us here in the UK is round about the 30 quid mark. There is no news about the Dungeon Master's Guide or Monster Manual. One is tentatively maybe hoping that this is going to be an all-in-one release for $49.99. Now, if it is, great. But given Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, TSR's track record on this, I don't see it happening. I think what will happen is what they usually do, which is a Player's Handbook, a DM's Guide, and a Monster Manual, each going for the same price. So you're talking $50 a piece, 30 odd quid for us in the UK. So you're talking well over $100, or just over, round about, or just over the £100 mark here in the UK. That's nuts. I'm sorry, but it's nuts. I get really annoyed at this. I've said in a previous video, I do not like this notion, and it's one of the reasons why I have never bought D&D 3rd, D&D 3.5 or D&D 4th, and I won't be buying D&D 5th. Not because of the price per se, but because I refuse point blank, in order to play a game, having to buy 3 books at that kind of price, bare minimum. Now, I have bought books of a similar price. Song of Ice and Fire RPG I got for about £25. I mean, it was on sale, but you know, it wasn't that far off its usual price. £25–30 for that. And yes, there is a campaign guide which I have subsequently bought, but you don't need it in order to play Song of Ice and Fire. There is enough information, there's enough flavor text, and all the rules and everything are in the core rulebook. You can play that right out of the bag. Dragon Age, which is another one, and yes, I sound like a whore for Green Ronin, but you know, credit where credit's due. Dragon Age. Yes, they're releasing set 1, set 2, and eventually set 3. But difference is, set 1 gives you everything you need to play. You can play straight out of the box set 1. You have information there for the players, information there for the GM, including monsters. Great. Set 2 merely adds to that, and set 3 will add again. What you don't have to have, what you're not forced to do, is to buy set 1 and set 2 and set 3 before you can play. Hasbro Wizards of the Coast have really, if they're doing it, and there's very much the caveat of if this article has all the facts correct, and I'm not in any way disputing Newbie GM on this, Newbie DM should I say, on this. It's just that information sometimes can get lost in translation, and sometimes information changes. So whilst you know everything he said at the moment may very well be correct at this moment, there may be subject to change. The fact is, there are so many games out there, fantasy games. I've said this in another video. There's so many fantasy games out there. D&D really had to come out the blocks big and really grab the market again, if it was going to survive as anything. The sheer fact is, the recent re-releases, the anniversary re-releases of AD&D First Edition actually went quite well. I think people bought them. AD&D Second Edition, likewise. Third Edition, well, 3.5, the anniversary ones, went quite well as well. And they re-released the Rules Cyclopedia on PDF. I wish they'd actually re-released that as an actual printable book, but you know. The upshot is, they sold well. Mostly because they were slightly cheaper than people's second hands, because people were asking silly money for them. But there are so many games out there. I mean, I have, other than the two I've just mentioned, I've got Dragon Age, Dragon Warriors, which is an old style game, yeah, from the 80s that was re-released by Mongoose. And it's got everything in it in one volume. Yes, there's a monster manual that you can buy which has expanded descriptions, but all the creature stats and everything are in the main book. So you can run a game right out the bat with that one book. Savage Worlds, yes, there is the notion of buying the core rules and then either a campaign setting or buying the Fantasy Companion, which is in case you just want to do something generic. I have Savage Worlds. I've got the Deluxe Explorers Edition. I've got the Fantasy Companion. Now the two of them together, including postage, cost me about £25. But probably less than that actually, but just about that. About 20, 22, something like that. And it's all there. Everything you need. Yes, it doesn't have a world setting, but then again, old basic D&D really didn't have a world setting. But everything is there, and it's really cheap. Why am I banging on about the price? It's simple. People just don't have the money to be frivolous anymore. People don't have the money to simply throw away to a company, especially when that company is treating them so disrespectfully, which, if they're releasing Dungeons and Dragons in the same 3-book order again, they are being disrespectful to their potential customers. My personal opinion is that if they're releasing it that way, people should just boycott it. Just don't buy it. Don't buy it. Don't go near it. Just forget about it. Because quite frankly, there's better games out there. I did a video recently where I said if D&D 5th falls flat in its face, will it spell the end of the hobby? And the answer is no, it won't. There's just far too many good fantasy games out there. And then you've got all the other genres for role-playing games. I think D&D have, if this release is happening the way it's been reported, I think Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, have really missed a trick. I think they're milking it, disgustingly milking it for themselves. I would say, forget them. Just walk away from them. Get Dark Dungeons. Get Basic Fantasy. Get all these games that are, old school. Get Dragon Warriors, Dragon Age, get Mind's Eye, get, there's all these games out there. Savage Worlds. Fate looks very good. Fate has come out with a fantasy expansion similar. They're doing with their core rules and supplements similar to Savage Worlds. So they're coming out with Fate Fantasy and Fate Steampunk and things like that. And I say, wow, yeah, let's do it that way. I think that's the smart move. I think that's the way to do it. I hold Wizards of the Coast in utter disdain for this. What they did was stupid. What they did was silly. And, you know, if that's the way they're going to work with these 3 books again, just milk it, milk it, milk it, then people are going to have to start realizing that they are not a role-playing game company anymore. They are a money-making machine. And they are hoping that people will buy purely on brand recognition, rather than actually the quality of the work. And to be honest, the quality could be amazing. It could be the greatest game you've ever seen. It could be the most amazing fantasy game ever. Quite frankly, at $150, they can stay it up their arse, because I've got a lot of games which may not be the greatest fantasy games ever, but they're more than adequate for my needs. And I think, to be honest, the vast majority of people's needs. So if this is what Wizards are doing, fuck them. Excuse my French, but fuck them. Let's just walk away. Let's just do it right. Walk away and go, you know, as Why Don't You used to say, go off and do something less boring instead. And just go and get a different game. Or if you're someone who already owns 1st edition, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition, all these different editions of D&D, you don't need to upgrade. Just keep with the one you've got. You like it, you love it, you play it, just enjoy it. Just leave the fucking thing alone. So that's my thought. That's my point of view. And I'll be back soon with another video.